Yes, if everyone could actually just smile, we're recording the webinar so we can screenshot it later. So just sit up and smile for a couple seconds and and that'll be perfect. Beautiful. And we're going to start the webinar. Awesome. And we'll have attendees joining in.
Are we live?
Mm-hmm.
We're good to go? Hey, everybody, just hang on 1 minute. We'll just get started in 1 minute here. Just getting everybody in the room here and getting set up. Thanks for joining us on a lovely British Columbia morning. How's the weather in Ottawa, Minister?
Hot and humid. And nowhere as lovely as where you are in BC. So I'm very jealous.
Yeah, we'll get a little rain this morning, but it's supposed to clear up soon. So just hang on 30 seconds here.
So I'm very jealous.
Okay. Morning waiting room?
No, they're just joining.
Okay, cool.
Good.
All right, we're going to get started because we're really short on time here, and because Minister's got a very busy schedule. So we're very lucky to have the Minister with us back out in beautiful BC, even virtually, for a few minutes. And she was here over a year ago for International Women's Day and spoke to a group of our young women entrepreneurs, and spoke to the whole group. So that was great. But I'm going to turn it over to our MP for Coquitlam, Port Coquitlam, Mr. Ron McKinnon, to kick it off here and introduce the Minister. And then I'll come back and take questions after that. If you do have questions, please enter them in the Q&A section of the website there, and we'll get going. Ron, over to you, sir.
Great. Thanks, Mike. Mike, I'd like to acknowledge you as an integral part of the Tri-Cities community, and thank you for your continued advocacy for the needs of small businesses during the COVID-19 pandemic, and always, of course. So good morning, everyone. I'm Ron McKinnon, Member of Parliament for Coquitlam, Port Coquitlam. I would like first to acknowledge that we are on the traditional and unceded territory of the Coquitlam First Nation, and within the shared traditional territories of the Tsleil-Waututh, Katzie, Squamish, and Stolo nations. The COVID-19 pandemic has posed unique challenges for our community, our country, and our world. And amidst these difficult times, our community has undoubtedly come together. Individuals, families, businesses, and organizations in the Tri-Cities have stepped up in support of their neighbors or retooled their business activities to help Canada in our fight against COVID-19. Today, we are joined by a very special guest, the Honourable Mary Ng, Member of Parliament for Markham Thornhill, and Minister of Small Business, Export Promotion, and International Trade. So Minister Ng is working to ensure that small businesses have the support and resources they need while helping to lay the groundwork for our incremental economic recovery. Minister, I'm happy to welcome you once again to our Tri-Cities community. And today we're here to talk about the role of the federal government in ensuring the strength and resilience of our business community. So Minister, over to you.
Well, thank you so much, Ron. And it's terrific to be joining you and the Tri-Cities Chamber. Mike, thank you. It's wonderful to see you. And I'm very pleased to be doing this virtually, but I have to tell you, I would much rather be there as I was last year. I'm missing those beautiful, the beautiful mountains there in Coquitlam, Port Coquitlam, and Port Moody. So it's terrific. I too want to do an acknowledgement, and I am on the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississauga of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, the Chippewa, and the Wendat people. And good morning to everyone who is watching and who is here, joined us here in the Tri-City region. And it's terrific to be together virtually. I also want to thank you, Ron, for the work that you do as my colleague. Throughout this pandemic, it has been very, very hard for so many businesses, and we've prided ourselves on delivering really good customer service and people service. And that is by listening and to understanding the challenges being faced by so many of our communities. And the most effective way I'm able to do my job is by the feedback and the really good input that you have given to me, Ron. So I really, really appreciate that. And of course, the Chamber. For nearly 50 years, you've supported thousands of entrepreneurs, businesses, providing that network of support to just help business owners succeed in this dynamic and diverse region. And it's through events like this one that we're doing right now, albeit we're doing it online, but you continue to provide that incredible support. And I want to thank you, Mike, and the Chamber for your leadership and your dedication to local businesses. And quite candidly, it is needed now more than ever. Small business owners employ more than 8 million Canadians, and they account for 42% of Canada's exports. And, pour que le Canada soit vraiment un leader dans un monde post-COVID, il est essentiel de soutenir nos entreprises. This is why our government continues to take bold and comprehensive action to do just that, based on what we heard from business owners. We heard a number of things from businesses about how to get through this. First, we know how important your people are to you. So we heard that payroll support was essential, which is why we introduced the Canada Emergency Wage Subsidy. Many of you, I hope, are already taking this, and certainly through the pandemic, we were offering a wage subsidy that will cover 75% of employees' wages, and that support has helped over 3 million Canadian jobs to date. And recently, we passed legislation to extend the wage subsidy through to December and to broaden it to help even more businesses with better targeted support. We know that as businesses are coming back in this recovery, you need your people. So if you're an eligible business owner and you're still seeing loss in revenue, you now will qualify for that extended wage subsidy, and I encourage you to take advantage of that. The other thing we heard really from businesses is how important it was to get some help, some cash flow help, because as COVID-19 hit, it hit very quickly, and I want to thank small businesses for doing their part in flattening this curve, but they had bills to pay. And how are they going to deal with that? So we brought in a wide range of lending products, but I think the one that that was taken up the most by businesses, because most of our businesses in this country are small businesses, it's the small business loan. So it's the $40,000 interest-free CEBA loan. And just to give you a sense of how that's helping, over 717,000 business owners across the country are benefiting from this. So they're sole proprietors, they're business owners, they are, they're business owners that depend on contractors. So, and we're getting more and more who continue to apply to the CEBA loan even now. And then the last thing that we heard from businesses is that we needed to help them keep their costs low. So here, over 3 million businesses were helped because GST and HST and customs duties were deferred. As well, we knew that that rent support was necessary. So while we know it's a provincial responsibility, we all knew that it didn't matter whose responsibility it is. We needed to step up and to partner with our provincial and territorial government partners so that we could reduce rent by 75% for businesses who are experiencing that severe financial hardship through the Emergency Rent Assistance Program. So I know that that the work isn't done. So listening to people today and having the opportunity to interact is what I'm looking forward to. But I do want to sort of say one other thing, which is around exports. Many of our business owners, particularly those who are exporting, are wondering, what is the future of trade amid COVID-19? Supply chains globally are under significant pressure. We've seen that an over-reliance on a single supplier or customer is a critical risk for both businesses as well as governments. But Canada is a trading nation, and diversification has got to be a part of our solution in helping our businesses rebuild and to grow. And COVID-19, as I've been saying around the world, along here in this country, it cannot and should not be used as an excuse to stop trading or to turn inward with protectionist policies, which is why throughout this crisis, I've been working internationally closely with partners from the G20, the World Trade Organization, APEC. I mean, British Columbia is on our Pacific coast, so working with with Asia Pacific and others to ensure that our supply chains remain open, our businesses continue to work, and that essential goods and services can continue to flow at this critical time. And a couple of months ago, I hosted a virtual meeting of the Ottawa Group, which is led by Canada, and it's a group of international partners that include countries like the European Union, as well as Japan and Singapore, Australia, New Zealand, just to name a few. It's a group of international countries that are working together to keep supply chains open, to advance WTO reform, and to support inclusive, sustainable, and resilient global recovery for everyone. We believe that trade and exporting can be key to helping Canadian businesses recover from this crisis. Our Trade Commissioner Service, the Can Export program that they offer our SMEs, it's valuable to small businesses wanting to rebuild and to grow and export into new markets. And since 2016, this program has supplied more than $100 million to funding to support thousands of businesses across Canada to help them export. We've retooled this program so that it will help businesses even during COVID-19 as they are looking to export. And we want to keep doing this work, making sure that our crown agencies like Export Development Canada, Business Development Bank is helping through our export diversification strategy so we can accelerate that growth in economic sectors like in clean tech, health tech, agri-tech, so that diversifying by trade means that we can help our businesses grow and to help those important supply chains remain resilient even through times of uncertainty. So I know we've come a long way, but we have a long way still to go, but we should be so proud as Canadians. I'm really, really proud of the work that we've been doing together. It's taken Team Canada, government, businesses, collaborating to help our small businesses, our women entrepreneurs, our Indigenous business owners, all of our underrepresented groups succeed here at home and into the international marketplace. And as we continue to rebuild and to recover, I just want you to know, we've got your back. We are gonna work with you all the way along. We are on this road to recovery, but we gotta do it together. So I wanna hear from you. So please get your questions ready. I'm listening, and let's have that conversation. Thank you so much, Mike and Ron, for giving me the floor.
Thanks, Minister. Really appreciate that. And I want to give a shout out to the civil service. I think they've done a remarkable job throughout this pandemic, and I've done this on all the calls we've been on because I know politicians make decisions, and you do it from a high level. It's up to them to implement it, and
Yes.
Sometimes the decisions get made, and the implementation's got to be done in days where it usually takes months. And I think they've done a remarkable job in most cases of getting that done. So a shout out to the civil service people because I think they've done a fantastic job.
I couldn't agree with you more. Absolutely.
So if you do have a question, please pay, if you're on Zoom, there's questions there. If you're on Facebook, which a number of you are, please post your questions there, and Stephanie will get them over to me. But I want to touch on quickly the SECRA program, the business subsidy, the rent subsidy program you talked about. We've got a few small businesses out here that aren't seeing the benefit from it. And I know MP McKinnon's been involved in a couple of them. It seems like a few of the bigger landlords who've got hundreds of units aren't incorporating into the program. And I hear this message across the country too on the calls I'm on a couple times a week with one of your staff back east. Is there any changes coming to the program to make it more accessible, or more that the tenant can apply for the money because the landlord doesn't want to? Is there any contemplation of changing that?
Well, I appreciate that, Mike, very much. And I'm thrilled that you are on those calls. When I think about at the height of COVID-19, honestly, there were like over 1,000 businesses like every single day on those 11 o'clock calls, including, organizations like yours that also represent many, many businesses. And, the rental assistance program was one where we really needed to work with our provincial and territorial partners, because rent, of course, is not an area of federal responsibility. But as I said earlier, our job is to just work together so that we could support our businesses in all of our communities. So I am hearing this one very much. I'm really pleased to see that some of our provincial partners have also used their tools that are available to them, like a freeze on commercial rent evictions. that certainly has been helpful. I continue to make a plea to landlords because it's really important that they take advantage of this, because this is intended to help our small businesses across the country weather what is the most difficult time that we have seen certainly in my generation. So Mike, I want to let you know that that we are listening. And I think I hope you'll agree that it's really through this listening, yes, absolutely, with my department, that we are getting that feedback so that we can make the changes. Like you've seen that we've made changes to CEBA more than a couple of times. We've made changes to the wage subsidy. We are adapting based on what we hear. And this is why your feedback and Ron's feedback is just so important, because your ears to the ground. So I just, so let me say this. I'm hearing you, and we're going to do, my commitment always is to do everything we possibly can to help our businesses weather through this. But I have also seen that businesses have been able to take advantage of a range of the programs, and in doing so have, it's helped, but I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, no, and I think it's, and I'm on those calls which are great, and I'm saying they're great information, but it is a common theme that a lot of the landlords, and I think when you look at the numbers coming out of people participating in the program, it's below what projections are, I believe, but we do need to look at some more, because the eviction ban comes off at the end of the month, and I know a couple small businesses here are really fearing getting evicted at the end of the month or the beginning of next month. So any help we could give them there and looking and changing, and I have brought this up with the provincial government too. So we've got a question here from Councillor Zoe Roy in Port Moody. She says after 3 years of research and development, I launched a new business on March 9th of this year. 2 days later, World Health Organization declared a global pandemic. Has CEBA expanded the program to include businesses who cannot show revenue, only expenses, and have been incorporated since 2017. So she falls into a kind of a tough spot there. Is there any movement on that front?
So we've adjusted CEBA, so that is eligible for those businesses that, on the one hand have payroll, but I know that doesn't catch everybody. It now catches also those employers that use contractors rather than payroll. It also includes those businesses that have a non-deferrable expenses of, from between 40,000 to $1.5 million. So that's what it covers, and that's what it's open to. Maybe on this one we can follow up more directly, with this particular business owner. Happy to do that. And we also introduced the regional relief fund, regional recovery relief fund for those businesses that have not been able to get access to the programs that we have put out in CEBA or wage subsidy and so forth. And it's a $1 billion program, and Western, and for Western Canada, they get about a $300 million share of that. So that's another avenue as well through WD. But on that specific question, let's just follow up just to be sure that we can be helpful, or at least give you the accurate information.
Okay, and Zoe said, yeah, I can share your contact info. And I got another one here from a similar situation from a company that just invested hundreds of thousands of dollars getting started, got started for a week and a half, and then boom, it's a brew pub downtown Port Coquitlam, which Ron and I are familiar with. Not that we frequent it, but we're familiar with it. And they're asking, they don't qualify for the wage subsidy because they didn't have any revenue last year. So they're asking what other things can they access to get help, because they didn't have their business isn't running. It ran for about a week, but they invested hundreds of thousands of dollars to get it running.
Yeah, it certainly is. It certainly is a challenge for so many of our businesses. And what we try to do here is to be as comprehensive as we can, so that we are helping businesses throughout this. I would say that one probably is one where it may make sense to go to the regional recovery and relief fund if the wage subsidy isn't quite working that way. But again, on a specific, it might again be one of those where we should just follow up so that we understand sort of the full circumstances. We'll work with Ron's office just to just to understand the full circumstances and make sure we navigate you to the right place if the existing programs that I just talked about, are not helping.
Okay, and then they just said that they invested $1.5 million, and then we're open for a week, basically, or 10 days, and then had to shut down. So they had no revenue coming in prior to that. So, any other questions out there? I got a just general question for you. What is the federal government? What do you learn from this experience so far? What have you learned? What can we take forward, moving forward from this pandemic and going through all this and everything you've done? What have you learned that is going to make us better?
Well, I think that we are continuously learning, and we are still in a pandemic. We still have to put as our top priority the health and safety of Canadians, and making sure that Canadians are listening to the health direction, while at the same time ensuring that the economy is safely reopening and restarting. We will need to live with COVID for for some time, until such time that we get a vaccine or therapeutics that are going to be able to beat it, if you will. But we are going to continue to have to live with it. It's in this context that the federal government negotiated and worked with provinces on a safe restart program to make sure that there is adequate funding and support. It's about $19 billion across the country, but it's to support things like more testing capability, more contact tracing capability, the purchasing of PPEs that are going to be needed, making sure that childcare is available to communities as they're restarting, ensuring that those PPEs, for example, are there to help cities or communities that that have transit, and transit is going, those municipalities are going to have additional costs, and therefore in that safe restart, that funding is there to help them. So what would I say is the learning and the continuous learning. We have to work together. And what is really has been terrific is that that the Prime Minister, the Deputy Prime Minister regularly, has been meeting with both premiers of the territories as well as the provinces, and that we have got to just work together as Team Canada. It's Team Canada that has gotten us through this. It's taken citizens, it's taken governments of all different levels, it's taken businesses. Everyone has had to lean in. And I would say that we are going to still have to lean in, because we still have to manage and keep people safe, and keep working as diligently as we ever have on the health of Canadians. But at the same time, we have, our economy is restarting. It is opening. It is safely reopening. But ensuring that safe reopening continues. And in that, you and I well know that for many industries, it's still not going to get to pre-COVID, right? So we've got to be able to continue to provide some of those supports as a way to bridge them through this period, because, in the height of this, it really was, how do we survive? And now it is, how do we make sure that you're supported as you're reopening? Because, think about it. Think about all those incredibly wonderful businesses on all of our main streets in all of our communities. Their jobs, their families, their people, and we've got to keep working together. And there isn't a one size fits all, but there are certainly the ability to put programs in place, listening from businesses that ultimately will help.
Okay, I want to sneak a couple more in here. I know time's getting short. Your time is very valuable. We appreciate it. So,
I know, shorter. Sorry about that.
No worries. Following up on the rent subsidy, I didn't say you were short. I said that it's short. Time is short. Following up the rent subsidies, the question keeps coming back, and I've heard it from Ian at the Cambridge Waterloo Chamber of Commerce on the calls too, is why can't the renters apply directly like you can in the housing, renters here, personal renters can apply directly for subsidy. Businesses have to go through this, and the landlords are saying, no, it's going to cost me $5,000 to do the application. And I got businesses here who had to renegotiate their rent at a higher rate to cover off the rent subsidy. So the question is, can we move forward? Why can't the renters apply directly for it in the future? Something to consider. I know it's been brought up before, but something for you to look at as you're moving forward, please.
We will absolutely listen and consider. There's no question that we're going to do that. And to answer your question, like, why can't they go directly? They can when it's a provincial program. Like, they can. And I mean, when you look at the residential pieces, I mean, but it, like, as I said, that doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is making sure that our businesses indeed get the support. So I hear you loud and clear. And that Waterloo is here on your on the Tri-City Chambers.
I just think it shows it's an issue across the country, because Ian keeps bringing it up every call we're at. And you can talk to Frances back there, and she'll tell you she knows the call, the question is coming, and he does a very good job advocating. So I think it's a national issue. So are any plans to extend the IRAP program?
The IRAP program that is there for the early high growth, high revenue businesses. We've been looking through the suite of our programs, and the idea about having sort of the multitude of them. We had put them out just because, remember, the speed of which we needed to just get programs out to businesses. Happy to look at it. I haven't, to be candid, I haven't been hearing a ton, I haven't been hearing a lot of sort of comments on that front with respect to the IRAP program. So happy to take that back.
Okay, one of the members asked the question. So
no.
We're just kind of, I know your time's short, so we're just kind of wrapping up here a little bit. Any final comments? Ron, you got anything you want to add here as we wrap up, sir? I know this was very short and brief. We really do appreciate your time. We want to get you back out here in person, enjoying the mountains and the sunshine and all those beautiful things.
Yes,
but yeah, and we'll follow up, Ron, we're going to follow up with you, with Zoe Royer and the Patina Brewing questions, so you can get them to the minister or follow directly to the minister too.
Yeah, absolutely. I certainly want to acknowledge Greg and his wife and the major effort they put into opening up this great new brewery. I haven't actually been there yet, but I intend to. It's the kind of entrepreneurship that we really want to support, and for businesses like this who are just starting out, they've got huge investment, and it's just about survival at this time. And so whatever we can do to adjust the companies that fall in around the cracks, the more, it will be good for the whole community and good for the country. So, yeah.
So we'll follow up with that. So I'm just going to close, give you the floor, Minister Ng, for one last closing statement. I know you got to run to your next meeting. It's busy time in Ottawa. Over to you for last closing statement.
Well, thank you. Well, today's my virtual tour in BC, so I'm busy both in Ottawa and also back in BC. So I'm going to be meeting a number of businesses in the Lower Mainland. But listen, I want to thank you for all those really terrific questions, and the fact that the questions are coming up as they are just simply means that it is an effort that we just need to keep working together. I mean, discussions like this one today is just so important because it is about listening and learning and making sure that we continue to be prepared for what lies ahead, so that we can support our businesses. We need you, and you're important to our economies. You're important to our communities. So know that, as I said earlier, we've got your back, and we're just going to have to keep working together. And as the Chamber's motto, because I'm going to use your motto, like as you rightly say, strong business, strong communities. Yep. So here's to supporting businesses and building those communities emerging from these difficult times, and let's go stronger together. So thank you so very much.
No, I appreciate your time and your energy, and we'll keep talking. We'll keep communicating you. We'll communicate through Ron and directly to you. And BC is also known as God's country, so you're welcome out here anytime in God's country. So thank you for your time, Mr. Ng. Thanks, Ron. Thanks, everybody. Reach out if you've got any questions and more concerns. We're here to help you. Fill out the online survey because we're shaping the future of the Chamber. Please fill that out. I know over 300 of you have so far. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.